Hello and welcome to the Irish Gauge podcast. Well, Dave, straight in with a laugh, big man. This is the first one back for our nerd topics. Dave's in a strange mood. He's been.
I'm feeling good.
He's been in a warpy mood since he landed here.
It's just the heat coming out in them, I reckon.
Hey, can you underride in good mood? Is that
Absolutely,
is that
I
allowed?
fully encourage it.
Davey always says Wednesday was the day the week was broke, so maybe Dave, you've got that feeling tonight, have you?
Aye, yeah.
There you go.
We're recording on a Wednesday for anyone listening.
Yeah, the week is broke.
The week is broke. Wednesday's a glorious day, like. It is a glorious day. It's the countdown to the weekend, like. And you just know you have Thursday to go. And
Absolutely, Dave.
bang, bang, boom. It's just
Thursday's my
Friday.
favourite day of the week. Because
Have
Fridays don't count for work.
Mm,
They don't count. Like, it's the start of the weekend, they don't count.
fair enough.
They definitely count.
They don't, like, not in my mind. That's the way I play it. But,
There we go.
aye, it's our first one back for our nerd topics. Full house as per usual for our nerd stuff most of the time anyway, except Festy. We're trying to phase you out.
All right, aye.
Yeah, so, yeah, first one back. It's good to be back, fellas.
It is good to be back. I was kind of,
Really
lost
good.
without it.
Really good to be back.
You know, when you,
Really good to see you too, Dave.
Nothing.
It's good to see you too, Festy.
May the head-racking scenarios commence.
Aye, so we've had a list of stuff that we've been sort of working on during the quarantine, and we decided to kick ourselves off with guilty movie pleasures. And just before we start, I'm questioning Vesty that I'm not entirely sure that he understands the concept of a guilty movie pleasure.
No, I seen that message earlier and was like,
Yeah.
that's
Questionable, like the whole Roy Keane incident.
What do you mean, like?
Like, you set up you literally outlined a set of rules to go by in a podcast, and then you just broke them yourself. Like, you said it, like.
Yeah.
It's my goddamn podcast, Dave. I do what I want.
So yeah, we're going with guilty movie pleasures. You were bandying.
Most of my movie, likes are guilty pleasures.
To be fair.
I found this easy because I had a list a mile long of things that,
You were bandying about Hugh Grant movies, Dave.
I love Hugh Grant. I didn't decide to go for Hugh Grant, but I was so close. Like,
Definitely chick flick.
I like chick flicks.
Oh,
but,
you do, you
but
do.
I didn't go chick flicks.
Okay.
I've mixed it up a wee
Alright,
bit.
fair enough.
I was thinking about doing Will Smith movies, but then they're great, so they're not guilty movie pleasures.
They're not all
I
great.
just love
your
rom-coms.
They're not all great.
They're all great. Every single one of them, even really the bad ones like
They
Wild
like-
Wild West.
Just steadily decline all the time. They're just
Right,
getting
right,
progressively
right.
worse.
That's another one we decided that we're going to do today, like, popular movies or something, or TV series, maybe do a few each, that we absolutely detest.
We might try and I think it would be a good idea too to release this podcast and then maybe the week later, so it's sort of like a two-parter because they're basically
The same
the
thing.
same but opposing.
Yeah.
So this will be what movie the guilty pleasure that people don't generally like, but
Yeah.
we love,
Mhm.
or else and next week or the week after this is released, we'll maybe try and
I've got a
release,
list of my long of films that are popular that I absolutely imagine we got PJ on this.
Oh, aye, that's the same.
Jesus.
There's a lot of films that people generally like, and I've watched and just thought
That's
was
absolutely dirt.
awful.
I hate them.
Yeah.
I should have done the Batman movie in this. Now that I come to think of it.
Batman
Batman and Robin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy the film.
Yeah.
But so guilty movie pleasures it is, boys. Does anybody want to kick us off? I'll go first if you want. I will. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you've got this, Dave.
It's not too often you get to go first.
No, you deserve it. You've earned it.
Appreciate it.
He looks pleased.
He does.
So,
Alright, big moment, Dave. Here you go. No pressure.
well,
Hurry up.
I turned up my nose, Bestie. You mouth.
I'm fairly sure I know what you're on for.
Aye. So I thoroughly enjoy horrendously bad martial arts movies. So this is the reasoning behind it. So like, you know what happens, boys? Like, you be sitting there and it's like a fucking Tuesday night or something, and you've got work done and you've got your podcast research done, you've done all your reading, and you want to watch something.
But you
But you don't really want to watch something.
You don't want to get into it.
You don't want to get into. You need something. You don't want to like watch something like Inception, where they're for the
You have
first
to
time
commit.
that you have to commit like airtime to this thing. You want a simple,
In and
really
out.
bad movie that has like one premise in it, and that's all you need, so
Yeah.
that you can sit in your phone, you can like do whatever you want to do, like sort of half watch the film. It's like somebody gets
You
kidnapped.
can drop in and out of it.
Aye.
Yeah.
But specifically martial arts movies. Because to me, they're absolute comedy.
Chuck Norris better be on this fucking
I
list.
went for the two goats. No,
Jean-Claude Van Damme better be one of the two goats.
Absolutely he is. Chuck Norris movies are too good for the movies that I'm talking about, Tom.
Oh,
This is really going to get controversial.
So I'd want to give a slight shout out to the channel that I actually watch these movies on, and I do check multiple times during the week.
Is this Movies for Men?
It's absolutely Movies for Men. Movies for Men, or it used to be the Sony Movie Channel. They play awfully bad, like straight to DVD level martial arts movies.
the best kind of martial arts movies.
They're absolute comic relief to me, just because of just the absolute horrendousness of them.
The bad over-the-top action, the horrendous stunt work, the terrible dialogue.
Terrible dialogue. Some of the dialogue's horrifically, but I love it. It's absolute comedy. I like the pure martial arts ones where they're like fighting in the tournament. And like an island. Like, I'm not even talking about like Bruce Lee movies. Like, Enter the Dragon's a pretty damn good movie.
Enter the Dragon's a great movie.
But like something that's way
even a Jackie Chan movie can be considered a good enough standard of movie.
There's some Jackie Chan that are a bit like, okay, this isn't that Tara, So I like them. But the Sony Movie Channel or the Movies for Men do I do check them channels multiple times a week and see if there's any bad good movies on them. Especially the two goats of horrendously bad martial arts movies. Now, the first one is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Of course.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is more of the pure martial arts movie.
I told you we shouldn't record it tonight.
It's a more pure martial arts movie. Like, he's a kickboxer.
Yeah.
He's an underground martial artist. He's going to tournaments and stuff like that there. Whereas the second one, which is Steven Seagal, is more of the retired army veteran who's got a martial arts background movie. But I like both of them. I like the spread. I like Broke Top.
Variety is the spice of life.
You like both of them? I like them both.
I tell you we shouldn't record it tonight. There's no way Dave's making it through this. Tom's really going into meltdown over there. He can't go.
Do any of you men like Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I do like Jean-Claude Van Damme, yes.
Oh, right.
I don't think I like Jean-Claude Van Damme as much as you.
They're comedy, like they're absolute comedy. So if I have a few of the big hitters for Jean-Claude Van Damme here. Street Fighter.
Absolutely. I only watched that really recently.
Oh my god.
The quarantine made me watch that.
It's so good it's bad. He starts Kaylee Minogue.
They're so good, the bad movies.
Oh, they're so good.
The best movies, like.
They're comic relief for me. Like, they're the perfect thing. Something's happened. He has to fight somewhere. He goes there, or like his brother's son's got kidnapped and he needs to go and get him back, or something like that. There's something that is the only premise of the movie, so you don't even need to follow it. Like, but so there's Street Fighter, which is absolutely golden. Tom, you had the pleasure of watching Street Fighter recently. What did you make of it, lad?
It was terrible, but like really good at the same time.
See, this is why I like the Batman movie.
I actually found myself watching it again because like that Sony Movies or whatever channel, they're playing it like repeatedly at the moment.
All they do is play bad martial arts movies. One of my personal favorites is Double Impact.
That sounds like a bad porn.
There's some bad scenes in it. There is a scene where it is a full-on porn.
I've never seen that movie, but
Double Impact. Double Impact is where Jean-Claude Van Damme plays twin brothers, which is a staple in this fucking genre.
Van Damme plays twin brothers.
Oh, I should he not only plays one,
it's slightly more believable that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito play twins.
Slightly more believable, but like obviously as it does be, one is the kind of naive sort of well-to-do martial arts expert, and the other one's the whiskey drinking, woman abusing, like actually hits his woman multiple times in the film. Twin brother.
Yes.
They're also estranged, I think, as far as I can recall. Maybe they are. No, I think they're separated, but they know that they're twin brothers anyway.
That seems more like a sort of Parent Trap. The story to Parent Trap.
My God, it's good. The blade in the movie's banging too, because like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal will make sure that their co-actors ridiculously.
So what you're telling me is Parent Trap for men? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Probably
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Much better than Lindsay Lohan, you're saying?
Absolutely. One of my personal favourites, and probably the one that he's known for most out of Jean-Claude Van Damme, is Kickboxer.
I would like to apologise to anyone listening for how much this has broke down already, and will continue to break down for the foreseeable future.
Kickboxer, where his brother gets paralysed. His brother gets paralysed in a kickboxing match in Thailand, and then he goes to train with like a Mr. Miyagi style old man who doesn't look like he should know any martial arts in any way, shape, or form, and kicks trees and stuff, trains underwater. Oh fuck! Kicks trees, trains underwater, and then fights the guy that parties.
I'm not gonna lie to you, but if we're discussing Jean-Claude Van Damme, I've seen at least 3 to 4 movies where he's kicked trees.
Oh lad,
kicking trees is a staple of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Lad, he says wiggle the palm tree, and that's repeatedly, and it's absolutely hilarious. But anyway, he then fights the guy that paralysed his brother in an underground kickboxing match where they wrap their hands in glass. Oh yeah, that's decent. Then we move on to Universal Soldier, which is another brilliant one where he starts alongside Dolph Lundgren.
Can we please go back to Double Impact? Because I would like to understand the premise. From what I understand, there's 2 twin brothers at a martial arts tournament.
No, it's not a martial arts tournament. It's like the triads are involved, I think. And it's more of like not a tournament style one. It's like stuff goes wrong. One of the twin brothers is kind of like a gangster. Shit happens. They actually do go to an island, weirdly enough. And then there's a whole thing. They fights in bars and stuff. But Universal Soldier, he starts beside Dolph Lundgren. And he's super soldier. It's more of like a shooting in type 1 too, but it's also really good. Dolph Lundgren's the ultimate super soldier, and he has to fight him, which is quality. Then there's one called No Retreat, No Surrender, where he's the bad guy. And the star of the thing literally shouts No Retreat, No Surrender when he does that.
I was going to make a political joke there, but I think it's best not.
If you want to watch just the closing scene from that movie. It's a guy in a kickboxing tournament against Jean-Claude Van Damme, who's like a French person or something. Or no, he's maybe Russian actually. And then the guy that he beat in like a fight way earlier on in the movie just watches his mate get his ass kicked in the ring, and then he decides to just jump into the ring, and then they fight, which is hilarious. But Bloodsport's another quality Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. They're all good, like he's shirtless. He's so shirtless.
I have to agree with you, Dave. I have a soft spot for terrible martial art movies and terrible action movies and just terrible movies.
Please, lad.
Like Starship Troopers is legit one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah.
But so like the one thing about like Jean-Claude Van Damme, at least a little bit, is he is sort of semi-believable. Like he looks in shape. He obviously can throw kicks. He did at some point have like a martial arts background, but then we move on to the absolute goat of horrendously bad martial arts movies, and I looked at his like filmography or whatever way you want to describe it. That man is still releasing movies.
What?
Moving on to Steven Seagal right now is what we're doing. Steven Seagal is still releasing movies, and he's out of shape, like he's in his 60s or something. I think I wrote down his age. I don't even know. Anyway. He's like in his 60s. He's still the badass martial artist. He's walking around with a gut like that's out to like. He's wearing glasses and stuff, like wearing like tinted yellow glasses. He's talking about he's teaching Anderson Silva, who's a legit MMA fighter, about how to beat people. And he does Aikido, which isn't even like a legit martial art. But he does loads of martial arts movies, and I love him. So he's more of the retired ex-Marine martial artist, and the peak of his career is Under Siege. And, Under Siege.
I know.
Under Siege is a wonderful movie with Tommy Lee Jones.
Christ.
Where he plays a character called Casey Ryback.
Feed me more.
Casey Ryback is a retired like Navy SEAL or some shit, but he's working. But he's working as a chef What do you call them? Like an airplane carrier thing?
Like an aircraft carrier.
Aircraft carrier, yeah. And then aircraft carrier's carrying loose. And they seize the aircraft carrier, him being Tommy Lee Jones. And yeah. Casey Ryback needs to fight to take back the ship. The soundtrack to the movie is actually really good. There's a play with Jimi Hendrix in it, which is actually it's actually not a bad film. Under Siege 2 is where it's just bad.
I've never seen Under Siege 2.
I've seen Under Siege. The same thing, Kane Albans, but it's on the train. Oh, Christ.
They didn't have the budget for
Dave's actually crying. He's actually in tears over it.
Vulture comedy, like. Oh, right. Okay, compose himself. Let's go on. He's got some great movies called like Hard to Kill, On Deadly Ground, and Above the Law. The man's like 68, and I looked up his as I said, his filmography, and he released one last year called like General Commander, and yeah, he's old, he's out of shape, and he's still like got the ridiculously hot chick that he goes along with in the movie, and at some point they're gonna make out and like have a sex scene and stuff. So Steven Seagal's doing it right. Steven Seagal's absolutely killing it, but he's got so many movies that have went straight to DVD. It's unbelievable.
That's all his movies.
But I'll wrap it up here pretty swiftly. I want to give like a shout out to others like Donnie Yen, Jet Li, even Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, for all the great movies he's had
had some
absolutely terrible movies.
Like, there's the one where he fights Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Game of Death. Oh, like he's literally fighting a legit 7-foot NBA player. The Mortal Kombat movies are horrendous too, but they're fucking fantastic.
What's the name of the one where Jackie Chan's a spy who gets sent to Russia?
Lad, it's always to do with the communists. You can't trust the communists. But there's actually one other person that I want to give a shout out to. He sort of featured heavily in Jean-Claude's movies, but he was in a stack of other movies. He was in Bruce Lee movies as well, good ones and bad ones. You might remember him, Deb. His name is Yang Zi, but he was called Bolo Young, and he's 73 now. But he was like, the ridiculously like jacked martial arts guy that was in them movies. He was always like white as a house. I'm gonna get a picture up at some point.
Okay.
But like he was the ridiculously jacked dude. He was like white as a house, like didn't look like fully Asian, obviously, but the out of the stereotype of small, like slim martial arts guy, he was jacked into shit. He was in multiple movies. He was in Enter the Dragon. He was in Bloodsport, and he was in Game of Death and stuff.
But I think I know the one you're on about.
Aye, lad. I'm gonna Google. But aye, that's my pitch. That went a wee bit longer than it maybe should have, but
I enjoyed your pitch.
I love bad martial arts movies, and Every Man Was in Stitches, and they're good comedy. And that's my guilty movie pleasure. They're perfect for watching when you don't really want to watch something.
Oh.
Everybody breathe.
It's the heat,
Might jump in next time, or does anyone want to
follow that, Dev?
Go on ahead, Dev. Lead the way, boy.
Well, I had a few sort of ones that were in my mind. Like, I like a lot of bad movies, like,
That's Bolo Young there, Dev.
Oh. Ah, yes, he's the one I was thinking about. Yes, he was the one I was thinking about. I was thinking about Enter the Dragon. He's
in Enter the Dragon. He was in so many movies. He was just the jack, like, oh, this is the guy that's gonna bust him sort of thing. Like, oh my god, look at the size of him type of. He's the real deadly martial artist. That's the bad guy. He played the bad guy in every single film.
Yeah. I clearly have not watched enough of these bad.
I'll give you a watch list, lad.
Dave's your guy.
Dave will sort you out. I might go home and watch a bad martial art movie after that pitch.
That Under Siege 1 isn't bad.
Well, you'll definitely agree with my movie choices. I was going to go down the rom-com route because I do enjoy a wee bit of, a romantic comedy.
Oh,
but I decided against it. And then I thought about going down the bad horror movie route, as in the I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend. But then again, I decided against that too. I like a lot of bad movies. I might like more bad movies than I do good movies. Probably shouldn't be on a movie podcast. But I decided to go for bad late 90s, early 2000s teen movies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking American Pie, 10 Things I Hate About You, Euro Trip, She's All That, Cruel Intentions, Dazed and Confused, Varsity Blues, Not Another Teen Movie, and Clueless. And the main ones have been a wee list, but that general late 90s, early 2000s terrible teen movie, horribly sexist, loved them all.
Absolutely.
Still watch them all, but I'm focusing mainly on...
I'm going to pull you on this. There's a few of them that are not bad. They're all fucking pretty.
I'm going to focus mainly on the GOAT of bad 90s and 2000s teen movies, which is American Pie.
Yeah.
The GOAT.
I just want to thank both you and Dev, for getting me into that series. I never had watched American Pie before.
American Pie's glorious.
American Pie's so good, but it's so bad. But it's so good.
I think they're good.
Oh, I enjoy them.
See, he's starting off like Under Siege 1 there.
It just gets steadily worse.
American Pie is the Under Siege of his list.
Yeah. Not Another Teen Movie is the Under Siege 2 on my list.
Oh, Jesus.
But yes, so I'm going to focus mainly on American Pie because I absolutely love the American Pie movies, and I know admittedly they're poorly written, not great acted, not great movies, but they're great movies.
They're great movies, lad.
So for anyone out there who hasn't seen the American Pies, the main ones would be American Pie 1, American Pie 2, and American Pie The Wedding. And then it goes on after that to Bandcamp, Naked Mile, Bed of House, Book of Love, and The Reunion. The main ones would be American Pie 1, 2, The Wedding, and The Reunion will be the ones I'll focus on, because that's the one with the main
cast.
Although
the other three there are definitely decent enough to be on the
yeah. Oh yeah, because Bandcamp's bad.
Bandcamp's really bad.
Naked Mile and Bed of House is bad. But they're good. All of these movies are bad.
I think but they're good. This is my favourite.
There's nothing guilty about this, like.
But the first American Pie, it's sort of a coming of age story. It takes place, high school seniors, as everyone knows, and it's basically. It follows a cast of fellas who are trying to lose their virginity before prom night. So they make this pact.
So stereotype.
Oh, it's the general. Every movie is the same premise, and in this era it was all
coming of age,
sex and partying, and
like 182.
playing.
So
we're gonna get to the soundtrack. Don't you worry, we're getting to the soundtrack. But the first one is Enter 2 would be my favorite, but I really like the first one. It's sort of the coming of age and all high school. You sort of see them grow up in that. And then obviously the second one, the college freshmen, it sort of takes place in the summer after the high school. Where they're deciding, they want to go on a trip, one last big summer blowout with all their friends before they go to college and don't see each other, and again a common thread in all these teen movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so it's it's just basically more craziness, more raunchy, more sex, and it takes it all up a level.
It does.
But it's sort of the main story of the second one sort of revolves around Jim and Michelle, and Michelle sort of pretending to date her because Jim had a slight issue with his penis. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched the movie, but we'll just say a slight issue with his penis. Yeah. So Michelle and Jim Levinstein were obviously, pretending to date.
Way to keep it PG, Dave.
Yes. And then, he was waiting for Nadia. Till, so he was able to make sweet and passionate love to Nadia once his penis was fixed.
You're doing a great job of keeping us PG.
What's not PG with this?
Dave was fucking earlier, so I can fuck away.
Stop pushing the podcast. It costs us £100 every time we get...
Beep. We're a couple hundred in the hole.
Oh, we're way on the
But the next one then in the sort of original trilogy would have been American Pie The Wedding. It looks at them more sort of all growing up, and it's taking a look at Jim and Michelle's wedding. All three stories kind of, Jim would be the main character, you would say, and all three stories kind of revolve sort of around him and Michelle and his sort of awkwardness and things. But the final one, it's the wedding, and it's them sort of all sort of growing up, and so that's basically the trilogy. But the movies in general have the best soundtrack out of any movie series ever.
Absolutely, aye.
Like, I have most of these songs in my shuffle and listen to them regularly still. You're full of Blink-182, you have songs like Mutt and Every Time I Look For You, you have Sum 41 with like Hell Song and Fat Flip. you know, Lead from James is a great tune. You've the likes of Good Charlotte, Avril Lavigne, Foo Fighters. Yeah. I mean, Alien Ant Farm. It's, you know, it's that sort of early 2000s.
It's a stack.
And if I go through every single one of the films on your list there, how many times then have we watched Road Trip?
We have watched Road Trip. I would say triple figures.
Like legitimately
triple figures.
Be far away, like.
And we've probably also watched American Pie 2 and 1 triple figures.
That's ridiculous.
Me and Dave, obviously, you know, we've been friends for a long time, and we used to watch American Pie most days for no reason.
No reason at all. Like
just had a banging soundtrack and
throw it on in the background.
Yeah. So, you know, but you have to understand these movies come out, like, you know, they come out at the perfect time that, you know, when they were sort of coming out, we were sort of getting into that sort of age, and we were watching them, and you know, so we were sort of coming up with that age. And then I know now, watching them back, I can see things that, you know,
you cringe a little,
but, you know, I still love them.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you just always have that nostalgia about them.
American Pie is the best of the bunch.
It's the best. That's why I decided to focus on them, you know, because, you know, in general, it's, you know, I love all of them movies that I round off. You know, Road Trip's great, Euro Trip's great, Not Another Teen Movie's great. Cruel Intentions might be my favourite. I love Cruel Intentions. It's so dark. If you watch it now, it's really dark.
Cruel Intentions is so dark.
Really rippy.
That's very rippy.
But American Pie too, like, I'm watching it back, like that scene where he's trying to get the girl drunk, like, that's like, you can't remember her name at all.
I got peed on.
You got peed on, yes.
Oh, no, what do you call it? Road Trip's unbelievable. Why I love Road Trip so much.
Oh, Road Trip's up there, like, when he's, what do you call
Barry Manilow.
What do you call Sean William Scott's character?
Oh, crap.
When he steals the bus from the plane. Where'd you get that bus? I stole it from a blind chick.
I'd have to do like the jump on the road. What do you call them?
They're just some of the worst acted, worst written, greatest movies.
They're so good.
Wasn't Not Another Teen Movie, it was the one we just did, Teenage Dirtbag on, wasn't it?
Not Another Teen Movie was basically a piss take about the huge amount of, you know, teen movies that were being released at that time. So it was a parody, but you know, I actually really like it too.
I'm good as well.
Yeah, it's literally just a piss take of, you know, all the teen movies that were being released, but it's good too. We'll talk a wee bit about American Pie characters, because the characters are the best. I'm going to start with the number one character, the best character.
You're going to say Finch?
Finch. Paul Finch. The greatest character in TV history, some would say. He's one of the core characters.
I don't get why this is a guilty movie.
He's one of the core characters. He's kind of the nice guy in the group. You know, you have Kevin, who's sort of the one with the girlfriend, the quiet guy. You have Jim, who's the awkward guy. You have Oz, who's the jock guy. You have Stifler, who's the ladies' man. And then you have Finch, he's kind of the nice guy. He's the intellectual type. He's very, like, sort of philosophical. You know, he's an intelligent bloke, so he is. And his arc through it is, you know, it's sort of the nice guy finishes last thing, you know, where he's striking out with girls all the time, and then at the end of it he ends up banging Stifler's mother 3 times. Once in each movie.
Always near the end.
And it's just a pure, you know, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's a pure Mrs. Robinson scenario, you know, with the very first time they do it, where, you know, Stifler's mom comes in, she's played by, what do you call her? Who plays Stifler's mom?
No, I can't remember.
She's in like so many things.
She's in so many things, but I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
But so it's sort of a Mrs. Robinson situation where, you know, she basically seduces, you know, Finch, which is also, if you think about it, you know, kind of raping. You know, it's an older lady and a high school boy.
Oh no, there's maybe a bit of a dark undertone to all these.
Oh, they are. Or if you go back and watch them, you know, they're very dark. It's a lot of, you know,
Cruel Intentions is dark as shit.
It's incredibly sexist. A lot of it's incredible. Cruel Intentions is the darkest.
Definitely.
But I really like Cruel Intentions. I might watch it when I go home.
I might say I'm going to buy 2 again.
And some of the other characters then, you have Steven Stifler, who, you know, Stifler. Don't call me Steven. Don't call me Steven Stifler, just. Steven Stifler, he's sort of the comic relief throughout it. He's the ladies' man, and you know, the guys, he's sort of they kind of like him, but not really.
Yeah, they don't like him like
They don't like him, but you know, he gets them in with all the ladies and gets them to all the parties, so they hang out with him.
Oz is the only one that kind of gets on with him, really.
Aye, kind of. And then we'll move on. Then there's Chris Oz, Oxstriker.
Big cage.
They call him Nova. Casanova.
Suck me.
He would sort of be the Jack character, but he turns out to actually be real nice at the end of it.
Sensitive.
Ends up with Heather. Stefano, why you gotta be so insensitive all the time? What?
Oh, that phone call bit in American Pie 2 slap on the desk.
And then, there's Paul Finch.
Get off!
Get off listening to the two of you.
Keep going.
But for anyone listening to this that has not watched the American Pies, I suggest you go and do it. The next character I want to talk about is Jim Levinstein. He's sort of the main character that they follow.
Your entire wardrobe was right.
I used to dress like Jim Levinstein.
What do you mean used to dress? You still dress like Jim Levinstein?
I do like myself some Jim Levinstein, but he's sort of the awkward one, you know.
You literally wear Converse jeans and a t-shirt under a check shirt, and you still do it all the time. It hasn't changed.
Here, there's worse people to get your fashion sense after than Jim Levinstein, man. He ends up with Michelle.
You've it all planned out, lad, don't you?
Well, yeah, there's Jim Levinstein. He's sort of the awkward main character who they follow around. He's sort of meant to be the average awkward high school kid, you know, the everyman's man who you're following through the story. And then you have Kevin, who I don't like Kevin.
Nobody likes Kevin.
Kevin's a character. He's one of the core characters, but he's just sort of there.
He is just sort of there.
He's got a hot girlfriend.
Kevin's there in the show, and like, how Oz
all he does is
Oz wasn't in the wedding. Oz wasn't in the friggin' wedding, and Kevin was.
Aye, goddamn Myers. And then the next character to talk about, he could be my favourite character. If Finch wasn't there, it's Mr. Levinstein.
Mr. Levinstein, he's the only one to appear in all of the movies.
So Mr. Levinstein, that's actually a good point. Mr. Levinstein appears in all the ones, even without the main cast and everything. It's always Mr. Levinstein. Yeah. So he would be Jim's dad. Then there's Stifler's mom, who we've spoke about. Then you have the female characters, where you have Michelle. She's sort of a band camp nerd who ends up with Jim. Then you have Nadia, who's the really hot foreign exchange student who, well, if you haven't watched American Pie, you'd want to check out that scene. Blink-182 are also strangely in that scene for no particular reason. Just watching the webcam.
Blink-182 in the webcam.
Yeah. And a monkey.
And a monkey.
Well, yeah. And then there's Heather, who's sort of a choir chick. And she sort of ends up with the Ostriker, who's the jock. Yeah. And then there's Vicky, who played by Tara Reid. Tara Reid. Back Prime Tara Reid.
She's not in good nick now.
No.
And then there's Jessica, who's almost like the female Stifler version. He's almost like the sort of female man's lady.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you've got a couple of other characters. Is Chuck Sherman. The Shermanator.
That's where you can get a little cringy.
And then there's also the MILF guys. I looked up online to find their names. One of them was called John, the other one went unnamed.
Oh, yeah.
And the MILF guys. MILF. Teachers. And then the last one to talk about is Matt Stifler. He was in it a bit. That's Stifler's brother. But that's one of the main characters that you see. But generally the movies in general are the prime of, late 90s, early 2000s. They released loads and loads of teen movies. They were the most popular movies and they were releasing them non-stop. But American Pie, I believe, is the GOAT of the bad teen movie.
It is.
But also, check out the other movies that I listed off. And just for anyone else, I'm just going to list them off again. These are some of my favourite bad teen 90s movies and 2000s movies. Again, all the American Pies, you can't go wrong with any of them. 10 Things I Hate About You, Road Trip, and Euro Trip. Road Trip's much better than Euro Trip.
Much better.
And She's All That, very good. Cruel Intentions, unbelievably dark. Loved it when I was younger. Find it really
Buffy's
dark.
in it, isn't she? Isn't it? I'm thinking about the right one.
You're thinking about the right one. Yes. Very dark.
Very dark.
And Dazed and Confused. It's sort of a mixture between one of these teen movies and a stoner movie, but it still counts. And then Varsity Blues is actually
Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues. I don't know if it's actually a good movie or if it's a bad teen movie.
It's hard to cover. Like,
yeah, but I put
I
it
think
in
it's
there
trying to take
anyway.
itself a bit too seriously.
Yeah,
Varsity Blues.
Yeah, Varsity Blues is sort of one of these cringy teen movies, except like the rest of them know what they are. But Varsity Blues tries to pretend it's better than them. And then you have Not Another Teen Movie, which is a parody in all these teen movies.
Yeah.
And then for any female fans listening, you would really enjoy Clueless, because I do.
I love Clueless.
Clueless is very good, 1985, I believe.
Clueless is class.
So that'll wrap up my thing, but yes, basically my guilty pleasure is awfully bad teen and early 2000 movies. I liked them then, and I still like them now.
Oh, lad, I watch them all the bloody time.
They're good viewing, to be fair. Very good.
Definitely.
Which one do you want to go next then? Follow
Yeah,
them.
but what's your guilty pleasure about?
I'll go last because I usually go first.
Alright, okay.
Alright.
Right, mine's gonna probably be a little bit toned down compared to yours too. I don't think we're gonna get as many laughs out of mine. Like mine was very last second. Plus my cheeks hurt. I sort of like dipped in and out of like different things. I was kind of a bit like Dev. Like Dev you kind of got me onto like really bad horror films. Like, but
bad horror films are the best.
I've like noticed like
I Know What You Did Last Summer is great, and I still Know What You Did Last Summer is excellent.
Yeah. But like I've noticed like
Scream.
in
Scream.
recent years I haven't really watched any of them, so I'd be lying to myself if I went with that. So I was saying to Dave right before this podcast began, I actually have ended up watching quite a few of these during the quarantine without even realizing it, and it was right there in front of me. Like, so I was able to come to the decision today. So I've no notes, but I'm just gonna wing it. So I'm gonna go for video game movies, lads. They are probably the most
worst.
divisive films that have ever been put to screen. Like, I mean, I like so
Supposedly
many
the
of them.
new Sonic one's good.
Sonic is incredible, lads. Go see it. It is so
Supposedly.
good. It is really good. I enjoyed it. Like, for a film
In saying that, I don't hate all video game movies. Like, the
mine.
first Mortal Kombat movie is a good movie.
It's in mine. You can't take it.
It is not. It's not.
Oh no, it's not a good movie, but it's you know.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so bad.
It's
good
so
movie.
bad.
Yeah, you know, that's what I meant. Like, I
Absolutely.
enjoy the first Mortal Kombat movie.
But, like, I don't even know what
Even
it was.
Doom to a certain extent.
Doom. I only. Jesus Christ. That is.
And I think I only like Doom because when I first watched it, The Rock was in it, and that was, you know, I'm a big wrestling fan,
yeah.
and, you know, that was when The Rock started acting, and I loved The Rock, so
there's like an insane change because, like, I mean, I'll just segue that into have any of you seen Rampage, that film that came out about a year or two ago with The Rock in it? No. It's based on like the video game about monsters basically destroying like
I think I've
the city.
I've seen that advertising things, but I never actually watched it.
I'm a little
You
bit
don't even like The Rock.
Oh no, that's why I'm ashamed to say that I really enjoyed that film. It's so cheesy.
The
but
Rock's
it's
a
so
good
good.
actor.
He's getting better. He is getting progressively better. But like
He's funny, he's got good acting chops.
I know he does. But like that's
He's
obviously
charismatic.
been built over like years and years of it. Like, I mean, Rampage is actually good, lads. Like, it's not good, but it's good. Like, so you need to watch that there because
Speaking of
legitimately.
bad video game movies, although this movie is really trippy. It's have you seen that Bill Hoskins Super Mario?
I watched it like I think when I was a kid, but I haven't watched it in like so long, so I can't even remember. But I do.
Every Switch.
Yeah, it's not even resembling Mario at all.
And there's very little to do with Super Mario.
It's got fuck all to do. Like, the only thing that they've got down is Mario and Luigi and their plumbers, and that's it. That's where it ends. Like, and then it just goes off in its own wee world. Like, but do you know? I was watching there recently enough, Dave. You kind of put it into my head. I went back and I watched the Angelina Jolie Lara Croft films there.
Oh, aye.
They're so good, like they're not like they shouldn't be as good, but like I found myself really enjoying them. Like,
That's prime Angelina Jolie, dude.
I don't dislike them, but I have to say that's the perfect guilty movie pleasure because they are bad.
yeah,
And I do find pleasure watching them.
Yeah.
But that is.
yeah, like I actually found
The
myself,
definition.
as soon as I finished the first one, I'm not kidding you, lads. I stuck the second one on straight away.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Go straight
ridiculous.
ahead,
Like. But oh Christ, I don't know. I just thought like I would go for this because there's just like a never-ending list of them. Like,
Oh, aye, absolutely.
I'm just trying to think. Like we've mentioned, Mortal Kombat's been brought up a few times. Like,
Mortal Kombat's man.
so I mean, I can only go so.
Mortal Kombat's absolutely glorious. Like, what do you call the big guy with the four arms?
Goro.
I love the CGI, especially the second Mortal Kombat movie.
Do you know what? I haven't watched Annihilation, but I hear it is so bad.
They changed the actor for Raiden too.
They changed the actor for so many of them. Like, I mean, literally, the first film ends and it's like a freeze frame of them all.
And then
it opens up and all the cast.
You have like a Raiden, and Raiden was the one I noticed when I was younger, because I remember just looking and be like, that's not Raiden. A kid watching them, like, who's that?
But then, like, there's other films there, like Rampage. Like, I watched this literally about 2 days ago. I don't know if any of you guys have watched it at all. I am not a fan of World of Warcraft. I know you've enjoyed it in the past, Dave. You played it.
I
watched
played it for a few months and then realised it was sucking my life away, so stopped playing it. But yes, it is very fun.
I watched that Warcraft film. You ever watched that?
No.
It's surprisingly good, lads. Like, I mean, it's not Lord of the Rings. It's not Game of Thrones. It's somewhere lower down the like, but it's not that bad, you know. Like, see, after like a couple of watches of it, like, I find myself like, geez, I'm actually enjoying this. Like, this is actually really good. I'm actually legitimately pissed off that there's no sign of a sequel in the foreseeable future.
If there's one thing we're coming to God's honest conclusion here tonight, is that you shouldn't do a sequel.
I throw it out there.
American Pie's the only one that's been able to do it.
How have they, never been able to get a video game movie right? Like, obviously they can be enjoyed, some of them, and guilty pleasures and all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But with some of the video games, the amount of lore behind them, and it's almost like
have a full storyline.
Aye, that'd be
I think it's more like a lot of people have came out and said now that video games suit like the TV format. They suit like a mini series or like something like The Mandalorian, like a 10-parter, something like that. There, I kind of agree, because there's, as you say, there's so much lore in some of these these game franchises that it's impossible to cover in like 2 hours. You kind of need that like TV format where you can stretch it out. But I digress. What was another one I was thinking of there? Just offhand, like I can't remember if I went and seen this film with you guys in the cinema, but I do remember going and seeing it, and it was that Prince of Persia film with Jake Gyllenhaal.
It's actually not bad.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like, I haven't watched it in ages, but like my sort of faint memory of it.
Don't make noises. I'm not making noises at the way you're describing these films. Not one of them has been described as good yet. It's not that terrible.
But like the premise.
I know that's the premise, but it's just making me laugh.
I am coming at them like rather subjectively. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be bringing these films up if I didn't in some secret way enjoy them. Like, I just mentioned.
Oh, that's the idea of it.
But like, I know rightly there's going to be people listening into this thinking like, what the fuck's he talking about? They are shit, and you never go near them. Like, even the Hitman film,
I like Cruel Intentions,
which you do,
which I love.
The Hitman film wasn't even that bad. Like, from what I recall, I think it got like a sequel as well. I've never watched that one, but I hear they're okay. Like.
I love the Hitman games.
Yeah. Well,
it's hard.
Have you ever actually seen the film?
No, I haven't seen the film.
It's actually not bad. Like. It's actually not bad. It's pretty good. Like. I mean, you feel guilty for watching it because, like, that's the whole point of this fucking
it is,
podcast. Like, but yeah, definitely, it's not the worst.
The Tomb Raider movies are good, boy.
I'm gonna do something like I'm gonna do something akin to what Dave had done there, and I'm gonna hone in on one particular franchise. The Resident Evil films, lads.
Fair point. Now, see, that's a good
movie.
The first one was good. The second one was okay.
I prefer the second one.
Okay.
I prefer the second one, lads. Like, the first one's pretty good, but I actually prefer the second one because it, to me,
the later you go down the franchise, I enjoy some of the later ones because of how low budget they are.
Like, you see when they started incorporating all that 3D. Do you find like the whole 3D phenomenon that came about like in like 2012 or whatever it was? Jesus.
I can't remember the last one I watched. The one that I remember watching, like, she was fighting crows.
That's what do you call that? It's the third. It's Extinction. It's the third one. Yeah, because it's like
fighting crows.
The world is basically all desert. Yeah, that's the one.
But I do have to say, when we're talking about the Resident Evil movies, the first one is actually a good movie.
It is
as a confined space, like isolated horror film.
Yeah,
it is good.
It is scary. There's like a scene, like, I think it's when they first come across the zombies. Like, there's this guy
Oh, and
Like,
he's
up-
dragging the
and he's
fucking
dragging his foot.
lad.
And lads,
Petrified.
I didn't realize, but like I looked further into that. That dude can actually do that. He's like some sort of contortionist
Uh-huh.
that can actually like bend and like control his limbs that way. I was like, but again, going back to the film, but like when you're in the film, that is one of the freakiest like images
No,
ever.
that Resident
He's-
Evil 1 scared the piss out
Yeah,
of me. That
and
came
he's
out when
like-
we were
I like that's
14.
what I've said. Resident Evil 1, I actually think is a good enough
It's-
movie.
it's-
It
Like,
is.
it's-
It is like
Is there one? No, is there one? They're on a ship.
there is, but I couldn't tell you which one it is.
Oh, don't worry.
It could be like
The next
4 or
one will be in
5.
space.
Because
Like,
it was horrendously bad.
Oh, yeah.
It was so bad and hurt.
Yeah.
There was something like, there was like a room on a ship that was all white or something. I can't even remember.
It gets really bad. Like I haven't actually watched this one, but I am fully aware that it gets to a point where there's old characters that return from prior films, but they've got like this thing attached
Your
onto
man's
their
in-
neck.
The guy from the first one makes a comeback in one of them.
Yeah.
You know the guy.
They bring previously dead people back to life, like
Aye.
clones and
So long
stuff.
as
It
they
just
don't
gets
bring
really.
back the person who got cut into a million pieces,
Yeah.
I think he gone.
Yeah.
Do you remember the guy that was? Do you remember the guy that was in the
Oh, he
tunnel?
did.
Do you
Mhm.
remember the guy in the first one that was in the tunnel and he
Mhm.
like tried to attack your blade, Mila, whatever fuck her name. He was in the tunnel. He was kind of the bad. It was her husband actually.
Ah, yeah.
He comes back, I think.
Does
in
he
one of
come
them.
back?
He comes back with like a thing in the back of his head or something
Oh,
crazy.
dear
Or
God.
maybe it's. the other fella
I
that
just
she got
know for certain Michelle Rodriguez's character comes back, even though she became like a zombie at the end of the first one and got shot in the head. So yeah, that series just goes like all sorts of different crazy places. Like I don't
The first
know.
film was absolutely class.
Yeah.
I love that laser scene, you know, now I'm thinking about it. The guy gets cut in a load of pieces.
Yeah.
That's right, aye. Aye, that was cool,
It
aye.
was one of them scenes that it was very suspenseful.
What do you
Yeah.
call it? Is it the Red Queen or something? She's
The Red
a Bobby
Queen.
bitch.
Oh,
Yeah.
aye.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I.
But yeah, I just thought I'd like hone in on them. I'm trying to think of like other ones that I've seen recently, but
How they haven't made a Halo movie yet is just beyond me.
yeah,
I
I think that is
agree.
legitimately the one franchise that if done right,
Absolutely.
that totally turns the whole video game films are shit opinion.
Because I heard
Another series that you, like, although it'd be, you know, it'll be tough enough to sort of like GTA. I was gonna say
I was just gonna
like
say
GTA,
that, but
like but there's a lot of movies like that out there.
That recently?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know how you could do that right.
But like if you did
See-
say the newest GTA, like you know you could do it where you could get someone to play a Trevor and someone to play a.
I think I heard
The-
something about GTA 4 being done into something. Now, I'm gonna go.
Mm.
Go ahead, Doug.
See, there is this film. I don't know if it's out yet or if it's maybe it is, but I know Ryan Reynolds is going to be in it, and it's a video game film. But he's the main character, but yet he plays an NPC, like a non-playable character. So I don't know.
Actually, this isn't an actual
Aye.
video game movie, but it's a movie about video games. Gamer, have any of you ever seen it?
Is that
It's
the
literally
Jared
same
Butler
film-
one?
Jared Butler,
Yeah,
the same
aye.
premise you're talking about.
Yeah,
Nah, it's pretty
yeah.
good.
I actually enjoyed that movie.
That Ready Player
It's not an
One
actual
kind
video
of-
game movie, but it
Right,
is.
yeah,
In a way. Like.
in a way, because there's so many video game characters
Aye.
incorporated into it. Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
well, yeah, definitely.
Pixels.
See, I didn't even know whether to consider it or not, but then I thought more about it just before I came over. The Pokemon films, lads. The Pokemon films are
fair
all
point.
based off a video game. Like whether you think about it or not,
Mhm.
first and foremost, like Pokemon started as video games, so therefore everything that's based thereafter is based off the video game.
Yeah, for a
Aye.
while. They're
Because
good.
like even
The original
like,
Pokemon movie was the first movie I remember crying to. It was
Yeah.
Fox and the Hound.
yeah.
No,
Like I
definitely
mean,
Pokemon
that
movie guys.
Detective Pikachu, like I mean, it's probably got a very small
That's one I haven't
audience,
seen yet.
No, I haven't watched that one.
but it's
It looks
generally.
funny.
I watched Prince of Persia, but I haven't
Yeah.
watched that.
Like I mean, when I seen the trailer for it, I was like,
Is it
this
Ryan Reynolds does the voice of Pikachu?
Yeah,
He's funny.
I
Like.
thought this was gonna be dog shit, like, but
Mhm.
geez, I walked out of it like a wee kid again. Like, it was so good. I really thoroughly enjoyed
it's
that.
guilty
Like,
movie pleasure, surely.
Yeah. I love a good guilty movie.
Still don't know what I made of the Pokemon movie. Like when I seen it, I just felt a bit disappointed by it.
what the first one?
Aye. I don't know.
You heartless
What
piece
do
of
you
shit.
mean?
Aye, I don't know. It was
Hang
alright.
on. This is the main question. When did you watch it? Because if you didn't watch it when it first came out,
Oh
as a
yeah,
child,
you needed to be at
like,
least
if
7.
you only maybe
No, I
watched
did,
it when
I
you were a
did.
teenager or an
No, I did.
adult.
I think I rented it out in videos at that time. Like it was
Decent.
I rented it out back in the day. But I remember watching thinking, this is good, but I don't know. I think I was young and I felt like there was a real dark tone to it. Like there was just
Oh, it was dark.
Oh yeah, it was
I
definitely.
think maybe that's what sort of maybe put me
Yeah.
slightly off a wee bit, but
I just
Aye.
mind bawling my eyes out. Like,
No,
as
I
soon as
absolutely
I-
in the cinema. Though.
like you knew he was probably gonna come back. Like, but
Oh, you didn't. Oh, you bought what they were feeding you. And naivety coming out of you. No! Not Ash!
But
How's he going to get out of this? He's turned us down.
but aye, lads, that's more or less all I had to talk about, really.
I enjoyed that.
I mean,
That's good, eh?
video game movies, like, they're so divisive.
Oh, my God,
Everybody's
it's just
got
a guilty pleasure. Like, I love bad martial art movies, bad video game movies, bad teen movies.
Aye.
I love Aqua. But there's less said about that.
Right, Bestie, you're under pressure.
Nah, I'm under no pressure.
I've
So,
said this before, we'll say it again. Your choice in movies and TV is a weird thing.
I am really interested because you said in a text message I'm going to really hate what you have to say.
Yeah.
So I'll just get it out. Say it.
I just wanted to say that I don't like you.
Alright.
But you're raging now, aren't you?
Little bit.
Right, well, no, I went down a much lighter route. Just because, like, it's pretty much trendy at the minute, is Disney.
Right.
And I could be telling you, lads, that my Sunday mornings...
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus is my movie day is Sunday. Like, get up in the morning pretty early on Sundays, watch a good few Disney movies, ones I never get round to watching as well. Like,
Some bad Disney movies too, like.
there is some
Yeah.
that's pretty much not that great, but a few that I have...
Sword in the Stone, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
What about the Black Cauldron?
It is, yeah,
Is it?
it is,
I
yeah.
thought it was like DreamWorks.
I love the Black Cauldron. It's not good. I loved it.
That's like a real cult film. Like,
Aye.
definitely.
See, when we talk about this thing that, like, I hate a lot of cult films, but we'll get to that the next time we do this.
I love some Clerks. Kevin Smith in general.
I mean, like, I guess it goes to have some movies here that I'm going to list that probably watched because I was young at the time, like some of the first movies I've seen, but I'll always have a real soft spot for them. First one is The Aristocats.
It is
Yeah, that
shite.
is
It
the
is
most
the
best-
worst.
Fucking movie.
When I watched that, I
Aristocats
vowed
are-
it's so bad.
No, it's not. It's
That
bad
is
as
so
you think.
terrible.
You have a
Terrible.
weird thing for, like, old English stuff. You do, like.
Right, let me no, let me tell you why, right? It was one of the
Do you
first...
like Blackadder or what? You do, don't you?
Blackadder one's alright, but the rest is decent, like...
Andrew Watts' his favourite.
Oh,
Actually, don't
Faulty
watch...
Tires. Faulty Tires is that one.
Oh, lad.
You're an old English man. This is the Irish gays and the old English couple.
I really do like Alfred the Butler.
Might be a new episode of Downton Abbey coming out.
It was straight off the bat. Straight off the bat, it was Aristocats. Like that.
They had to go in with a weird choice. Like.
Oh boy.
Right, well, I'll tell you why. Right, it was one of the first Disney movies that I seen, right?
Why
Full,
wasn't the lady-
full
Sorry.
disclosure, if you start hammering on real decent ones, you are gone from podcast. You're
If
not
you say
allowed
it's
to
better
come.
than Hercules, I get them walking out right now.
I will
not finish this.
stabbing you.
Tom, I will smash your car.
It's smashed up enough.
No, it's not. It doesn't top the classics, but it was one of the first ones I seen, and like I find myself going back to it very now and then, very rarely. Like, but I do enjoy it when I watch it. I do obviously side with the opinion that it's not the strongest villains, it's not the strongest storyline, but the music in it's pretty darn good. Like, it's full of jazz. You know,
You're an old man.
Dave, I will fight you.
See,
I will lift this microphone and fire it across the room.
it's funny you even say that, man, because like nothing from the Aristocats is memorable. Like I can't remember any of the
Lad,
numbers.
I'm starting to try and think of, I've seen it. I'm
It's-
starting to think of the songs in it,
You
but I can't.
You really can't. Like, I just know there's a bit with a Siamese cat using chopsticks on a piano.
It was incredibly racist.
Oh, it absolutely was.
Early Disney was very racist.
Oh,
Oh, really? Go back and
Oh
watch
no,
it.
I know. I know.
Disney's gonna be stealth.
that brings me to another movie. No, but I really enjoy it because it's one of the first movies I seen, and it's not the top of my list. Like, but as
It's
you guys,
stuck with you.
as you guys have already given me stick for, it's not that great, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's the proper guilty pleasure there.
Exactly.
You've hit it.
It leads to another film that I enjoy. again.
I take it the running theme here is Disney, aye.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
sticking with Disney because it's pretty trendy at the minute, and as I say, I've been sort of binging this last few weeks on it. Like, the next movie that I do quite enjoy, although it's very much it had a hard time living up to what its previous one was Lion King 2: Simba's Pride.
Brilliant movie.
All the Lion King movies are very good.
Yeah,
It's underrated.
It
that
was
second
one of the ones, I think it was one of the best selling Disney or maybe even films that went just from straight to video, not to cinema.
Aye.
I think it was one of the best selling ones.
Yeah, you'd be right.
But it was a hard movie to live up to after The Lion King, how good it was. But there's some good music in it, like the only thing that sort of I was watching it recently, which upset me a wee tad, is that obviously because it's been years since I watched it, but I sort of had a feeling before I watched that he wouldn't be. Rowan Atkinson didn't come back to do Zazu,
aye.
so he was like,
Old English man.
Blackadder.
Probably you were saying Blackadder, Dave. But he's. I can understand why he wasn't back, and it's quite obvious throughout the whole film that Zazu has very, very limited lines, like, which was a wee bit crap.
What did you call Scar's Cup?
See, that's what's going to lead me to the next thing too. Is
I made it blue name.
the theory was, or what it was in the film, is that Scar, who died in the first film, in the next movie, Simba's daughter Kiara, she goes off and she runs into like these like castaways, Pride of castaways that have been sort of banished from the Pride lands. They're led by Zira, just called.
She's a bad bitch.
She was actually probably the standout of the film. Her voice acting. The rest is a wee bit lackluster.
Compared to Scar, like, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but she's actually a wee bit more intimidating than
She is
Scar.
more intimidating than
She actually was like a real villain.
She was nasty. Like.
Yeah.
Scar was more conniving
Aye.
than generally terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, Professor could have took him.
Oh, yeah.
One-on-one fight, Scar was gone.
Absolutely.
Professor was the Eddie Guerrero.
But her character was very good in the film. But her son, there was the older guy, the older son who dies at the dam. When the thing falls on top of him.
Yeah.
But like the weird thing I was thinking the whole way through, because now I'm older and I understand it more, is like they do say in the movie where like the young cub who runs in with Simba's daughter, who's called Kovu, he says that Scar was never my father, but he was like inspiration or whatever. But I'm sort of thinking he's very like him, and like how did he come about, and like why did Scar choose him to be like leading that pride or whatever, which I'm kind of thinking that doesn't really add up too well. But the rest of it's quite good. I enjoy it. It is pretty good. Good film, but it was never going to live up to the first one.
No, never. Like,
It's definitely an underrated sequel. like.
oh,
yeah.
it is.
Most Disney sequels tend to be really horrific, but Lion King 2 is like one of them, like rare exception.
A lot of these films do lead from watching them young, and it's like any of us do. You can just go back to them, and you'll always enjoy them. You'll maybe have a better understanding of how maybe it's not as good now that you're older. But the next one is, I don't know if any of you ever watched this. It was a live adaptation, but it had cartoons. Probably maybe one of the first ones where it had cartoons in with the live action people doing it.
I think I know what you're on about.
Song of the South.
Oh, no.
Haven't you ever seen Song of the South?
No.
Never seen it. No.
Is that not the seriously racist one?
Yeah. It's not even
That's
on
why.
Disney Plus.
Oh, jeez.
Basically, it's like of Uncle Remus, and like Brer Rabbit and stuff, and Brer Fox, and it's basically a tale.
And you
of...
enjoy it, Bessie D?
I watched it when I was
Well,
young.
a lot of old Disney movies, when you go back and watch them now, there is a lot of really sexist undertones,
Yeah.
racist undertones.
Oh yeah, there's a
they're-
lot of racism, throughout the film. Maybe strictly.
But it was off the time, like, that's just the way it was back then.
The way I looked at it is because basically it was Uncle Remus. It was like he was the main sort of character in the film, and like he would tell the young kids of like stories about Brer Rabbit and all, and it would show like him chatting with all like these wee cartoon characters. I thought at the time it was brilliant. Like it was really cool.
Is it kind of like Space Jam, or it's like live
Yeah.
action mixed with?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But obviously looking
Roger
back.
Rabbit, you mean?
Roger Rabbit.
Obviously,
Okay.
look-
Well, if you want to go earlier than Space Jam.
Obviously looking back at it's probably for its time it was racist, very racist, but times change, and obviously I suppose maybe Disney have decided that they haven't put that on Disney Plus because maybe it's maybe the one to sweep under the carpet.
I was just about to ask you. I was gonna say, did they actually fire that up onto Disney Plus?
They
Or?
didn't. No.
Oh,
They
so you
didn't.
just seen this like years and years ago then?
It was on videotape. I got it years ago, and I used to enjoy watching it. But yeah, it was another one that I really enjoyed. It's a guilty pleasure, but I haven't seen it in years, and I was actually looking through
Right,
Disney
for all the
Plus.
good movies Disney have, they're bad movies too.
Yeah, they
Like
definitely do.
Very much so. But
Black Compton's a banger.
another one as well, I'll just touch upon because I have watched it again recently. You'll back me up on
What
this
do you call the
now.
one with the white mice? Begins with like an R.
The Rescuers.
Yeah.
Rescuers. That's
I
what
seen
I'm
it
looking
recently
for.
too.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, it is really
They're
good.
both good
Yeah,
films.
I
Like.
like them. Like.
Oliver and Company.
Oh yes, lad.
Lad.
You're speaking my language.
Lad.
See, Oliver and Company.
It gets serious flack. Like,
Why?
I
It's
don't-
so fucking good.
Like
Never
it-
watched it.
I've never seen it.
Get on that bike. Holy fuck, it's great.
it's like a lost kitten in like New York, isn't it? Oh God, I'm going now.
Why should I care?
He
I may not have time. It's so good, boys.
I had never seen it until about a month or two ago.
That's
I-
weird for me because I've even seen most obscure Disney films, but I haven't even heard of that.
Oh, lads.
But you know
so
what it-
good, like.
Do you know what it does? It felt very unlike Disney, if that makes sense. Like the artistic
Aye.
adaptation of it didn't feel very Disney. It is Disney, but it's not as Disney as like some of the other Disney films would feel like.
Oh, it's very much sort of out there on its own.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't know it was a Disney film, like you wouldn't know any different. Like, but like it's a little bit different as opposed to some of the others.
You know what's incredibly racist? Pocahontas.
Oh, it's so fucking racist. Man. Have you ever actually honed in and listened to the actual real story of Pocahontas? It is super rapey and super
Super
scary.
dark.
It's so bad. Like Disney's version is actually like a toned down version. Of it.
Even it's dark.
I'll just start off.
They can only water down so much. Also, I'll give another mention here. A Goofy movie.
Oh, lad, keep them coming. So good.
I hadn't seen it in about 20 years.
I
About a
hate
few weeks.
Goofy.
Yeah,
What?
not a fan.
Absolutely.
Get
hate
out of
Goofy.
here. Get out of town.
He's Donald's a hero, but
Lads,
don't like Mickey either.
No.
The
Boys.
goat of Disney May Hole.
boys, do you know what
It's
is
Donald.
boys, do you know what is absolutely insanely funny? Is you ever see Mickey Mouse in South Park? Where he beats up the Jonas Brothers. Oh, I thought we had some problem here. Go on out there and get me some goddamn money.
What are they telling you to do next? You're on your last legs now. Phone guy. Guy, come finish your pitch.
Yeah, let's come back, lad.
Davey, I have a 51% in this here.
Lad, you cannot do maths because
Oh, that is point percentage after that. The stakes are that high. No, back to the Goofy movie.
Oh, that's a banger, boy. Like, see
No.
them tunes and like
Oh.
power line songs. They're legit good songs, boy.
I like
Really enjoy them.
It was really good. I liked the way the story sort of went. It was kind of. It wasn't about getting the girl at the end. She kind of got close to him at the start.
Mhm.
Then he goes off and they go on the road trip. And I hadn't seen it in 20 odd years, but it was really really
held
good.
up,
I thought
like.
it was quite good in
Yeah.
terms of maybe the flack that it's getting online and stuff. But as I said before on the podcast, Rotten Tomatoes is absolutely horrible. Like for written things.
We definitely should do that. Movies that we hate that are like a popular thing. Wait, it's like I was thinking about this
I
with some of the
hate
Star Wars
movies.
stuff. But I detest. I watched that. Did any of you
Here's
watch
one. What
that?
do you call that horrible movie? Oh, it's not even in my head now. Leonardo DiCaprio won the Oscar for it.
The
Revenant.
See, that bored the absolute hell out of me.
Oh,
That is the
boy.
most boring, terribly boring movie. The only time I ever watched it was that time we went to see it in the cinema.
Yeah.
And I was bored.
Nah,
I wanted to get up and
so-
leave.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, Dave, because I couldn't even make it past like the 40-minute mark.
No.
Of that.
So we need to do that. We definitely need to I could go on forever. But do stuff that would dislike films, because I mean, there's I as you said, Bessie, there's so much. See critics, boy. I watched one of them things you're scrolling through Facebook. It's the middle of the pandemic. You're trying to watch something. What was that thing? It was about all I seen was a plastered everywhere about this deadly Spanish movie horror film that.
Wreck?
No, this one, it was on Netflix here. It's like The Platform or something it's called. It's about basically this guy gets locked in a prison, and the concept is that there's food comes down, but it comes down through the platforms. So whatever you get is what's left from the people above. You've only got a certain time to eat it. It's fucking horrendous. It's absolutely awful, and all it was getting was these like alternative weirdos saying that it's the greatest horror film this year, and it was pure shite, absolutely shite.
See, a lot of them films that get put to the Oscars and stuff, like they're all them real fuddy-duddy films. Like I mean, like they're
some of them
real
are excellent,
artistic.
like,
I don't get me
Sometimes
wrong.
you need Steven Seagal taken back over a train.
As the likes of Shawshank Redemption win an Oscar.
Oh, I don't.
And like movies like that are just fantastic movies.
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. They
some of
obviously
them
have
are,
a big
I know what
hitters.
you mean. Some of them are dreadful. Like, some of them best picture movies are just.
It's just them real artsy ones, like
So cute.
nobody watches
So
unless
cute.
you go to a film festival or something. One of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
It's
Just a question. Did you ever watch?
And when we're talking about the.
I did, Tom.
This topic of bad movies that
Hold on, Dave has to.
The topic of like bad
Darn it.
movies.
Let him talk, man. Let him talk.
The Entourage movie. And the Entourage TV show. I love Entourage.
Entourage is
It is so bad. It is literally the man version of Sex in the City.
It is, it's wonderful.
Sex in the City for men.
I love that.
Oh my god. Tom, before you were not really interrupted at all.
No. No, I was just going to chime in, lad, and say, did you ever watch the extremely goofy movie, the sequel?
Lad, I've been planning on watching that maybe
It's
next.
pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not as good, like, but it's pretty good.
Goofy enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, there's a lot of films on Disney Plus you get around to watching again. In terms of some movies that I haven't watched, I'm planning on getting them watched. But I'm also trying to maybe watch some, sequels like the 101 Dalmatians 2 or whatever. I've never seen it, or the Jungle Book 2.
It's per.
It's
101. The worst thing about 101 Dalmatians 2 is that there's far more than 101 Dalmatians.
I haven't seen the
That
Jungle Book
annoyed me
2
as a
either.
child.
Yeah.
Jungle Book 2's not great.
Some of them you really do need to stay far away from, because they're just not great.
Although I'm down with some of them sort of like live action style ones now that they're doing with the CGI. It's not bad. I watched the Jungle Book one. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
I actually seen it. That was quite good. And
was
what
I
was
never
this
watched
one?
the Lion King one, but I've heard a load of people say that the Lion King one was just basically shot for shot, but live action.
Give or take, yeah.
There was a bit of change in the Jungle Book one, like, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. King Louis was Christopher Walken.
Because I wouldn't get
Yeah,
the point
and I
in
appreciate
remaking
that.
it. Like, what's the point in remaking it if it's just going to be made exactly the same?
Yeah.
But
The CGI is
live
pretty
animation.
fair.
So, yeah, that's the thing. They pocketed
But
so
even
much
then, like,
money
you
over
get
the
far
head.
more,
of
like,
it's
it
coin
takes a
grab.
lot away from it too, because I find like you get far more emotion from like the cartoon characters because they can show emotion rather than a CGI
No, you're right.
animal, like, you know what I mean? So it's, I don't know.
Definitely.
Nah.
In that way, the cartoons will be better.
Aye.
Like, it's just going to be shot. I've never seen the Lion King, like, but if it's shot for shot, I can imagine it's just not as good.
I think the Lion King's maybe not as bad, or maybe a little bit worse because there's no, human characters in it. Whereas like the Jungle Book one did have Mowgli in it, like obviously, so there's a bit more
Yeah.
of
It's,
a blend, that way.
I mean, there is different wee sort of scenes and stuff sprinkled in there, but like more or less, yeah, it
Scene for
is
scene.
shot for shot. It's definitely just the animated one all over again.
That's it. Like,
But then again, they made over like $1 billion worldwide for it, so
Oh, so they're
they're
not gonna
gonna
do it again,
Oh,
like?
they're gonna
No,
keep
I
cranking them
think
out. Like
I'm waiting for Ratatouille.
you'll probably see the live action version of Lion King too as well. So
Oh yeah,
That's probably
Live action version of Aristocats.
Such an old
a new.
That should be in your guilty movie. Anything just like I like the Blackadder. Is there a Blackadder movie? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
You would
You like Mr. Bean?
Do you know what I need to get watching Dad's Army movie?
Yes. Oh, we'll have to do like a guilty movie or a guilty TV pleasures or something at some
For
point.
everyone out there listening, definitely list your sort of guilty movies below, because it's always fun having a look at what
Other people have to say.
other people have to say about guilty movie pleasures.
I know certainly is, Steph.
No, that went well tonight, fellas. It descended into mayhem slightly.
Oh, yes.
It's getting hot in here, isn't it?
Jeez, I was definitely breaking sweat and crying at the point. But
I haven't laughed as much, lad, since Corona hit.
way to fucking bring it down. Oh, weird vibes on a Wednesday night.
But I hope everyone who's listening is keeping safe and
Yeah.
keeping your distance, like we're definitely doing.
There's definitely 6 foot.
Yeah, we've got
about 10 foot. Yeah.
You're giving it away. Everyone listening, we have partitions up. We're all sitting 2 meters from each other. I had the measuring tape out. Don't worry.
There's lots of perspex all up around us here.
Sorry, Bestie, take your mask off.
Sorry, love.
We shouldn't be making light of this. It is a serious situation and a pandemic. So anyone listening who knows anyone affected by it,
I can't.
Ben's covering his ass here.
I just can't take him seriously. He's trying to be serious.
No, definitely not.
What I meant by
This
my
is a serious
comment
topic.
was I haven't had a serious real laugh
Aye.
before this fucking shite hit. Like,
Aye.
just to clarify that.
We're gonna put out.
Yep.
By the time you've heard this, that's no point even saying it really then. But this will be our first podcast release because obviously we do our nerd stuff on a Monday. So this is the first one of our regular programming back. We're gonna release one before that. It'll obviously already be out if you're listening. But this will be the first one back. We're just trying to gear back into it to get back into our 3 a week. We've said it on we recorded one podcast prior to this, but as the big news now is we're on Spotify. It's probably the biggest stream.
Well, I would like to clarify that we were on Spotify. Really see me start uploading there, and Spotify took us down because we haven't been uploading.
Sorry, lad, we got the money now, Ron.
So we're up on Spotify. Obviously, most people use Spotify. We were appreciative of everybody sort of downloading Podbean and using it through there for the time being. We know that that'll probably slack off a
We're
bit
still
now.
going to be uploading to Podbean. We'll
I
be
think we
uploading
upload to Podbean and then sends it to
Ah,
Spotify.
yeah, it's Podbean. So basically, you upload to Podbean and then use Podbean to upload further to
Something
Spotify and to
like that.
iHeartRadio and stuff like that there.
So you're
But-
going through all
So
the
whatever
channels.
podcast app you use, if you like in the Podbean setup, use Red Podbean. We're on YouTube, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Spotify, and hopefully we'll get an Apple
Apple.
at some point. You know, road to Apple.
So that's the big news. We're just trying to get back into the swing of things, and we've got plenty of ideas and all that. So we'll be back within the next 2 weeks. They're sort of regularly programmed. What do you call it?
Make
Regularly
sure to
scheduled program.
tell all your friends, like, share, comment, and
There's
just
a lot of
tell them
people-
all to come along with us and have a laugh and have the crack with
Aye.
2 Irish boys. They
Aye.
just sit here and talk absolute shite for an hour for your listening pleasure.
Sometimes we like to get serious and do deep dives and things.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do this where it goes absolutely buck way. But I know we said like even Tom, you were saying about getting like responses, different people, random people that would barely know talking to and saying that they're enjoying it. So
Yeah.
appreciative of everybody enjoying it. And if you are, keep at it.
And if any of our American fans that were listening, or you know, other European fans
Yeah.
that were tuning in, you know, and if you are back listening, cheers.
Yeah. Fair play to you understanding what the hell we're saying because we
I
barely
don't understand what we're saying.
No, we're barely getting word in edgeways anyway. But
Apologies, we don't do subtitles either.
no, but that's the first one back. Say goodbye, fellas.
Goodbye, fellas.
Yeah.